Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. As usual, I am out in the middle of nowhere, standing beside a road. I started to say desolate road, but there is a vehicle here, so it's not totally desolate. There is one vehicle, so we're not totally desolate. Anyway, we got a little story for you guys today. A little historical anomaly, we'll call it. Something that kind of got overlooked just a little bit, you could say, and probably should be mentioned, probably should be corrected. So I guess if some of y'all been around for a while, maybe saw a TV show called Quantum Leap, where Dr. Sam Beckett leaps through time and puts right things that once went wrong. That's what we're doing today. We're putting something right that once went wrong. Now, I am standing right here at this bridge right here. Very inconspicuous looking bridge, right? Now, if you look up here, it says, let me get out of the direct sunlight, the glare, the Burl Stafford Bridge. And I am just outside of, well, it's technically Delbarton, but we're 13 mountains away from the town of Delbarton. I counted this morning on Google Earth. But yeah, it's technically still Delbarton, West Virginia. But y'all know how, I know y'all have seen memorial bridges before, right? And, you know, we pass memorial bridges every day and see the names on them, but we very rarely wonder, you know, who was that person. Today, we are asking that question about a very average-looking but very unique bridge here in Taylorsville, technically, just outside of Delbarton. To tell you the story, I'll need to give you just a little bit of background first. Now, Burl Stafford was born in 1925 here in the hills of Mingo County in West Virginia. Life back then was very hard. Families were large, jobs were scarce, and the coal mine owners ruled nearly every corner of your life. Like many young boys in the area, Burl learned to be a responsible adult while he was still a child. He worked beside his family and neighbors, helping put food on the table. And, you know, during the Great Depression, matter of fact. By the time he turned 16, Burl had made a bold decision. He decided to join the CCC, or Civilian Conservation Corps. For those of you who don't know, it was a government program meant to help families survive the hard times and rebuild America at the same time. Burl's time in the CCC taught him discipline, work skills, and a sense of pride. But before long, the world changed. When World War II broke out, Burl answered the call. He joined the United States Navy, serving his country during one of the most dangerous times in modern history. He became a petty officer, doing his part in keeping America safe. He was just a small town boy from the coal fields of West Virginia, but he was brave and he was determined. After the war ended, Burl came home here to West Virginia, and that's where he met and married Mary Elizabeth Blevins, a local girl from Warfield, Kentucky, born in 1929 to Arthur and Alice Blevins. Burl and Mary built a life together that would last for 43 years. Burl returned home from the war and worked in the coal mines, just like his father before him. The mines were dangerous and dirty, but they provided steady work. Later, he took on a new job as a rural mail carrier on Upper Pigeon Creek. Every day, he delivered letters and packages to families tucked into the hollers and hills. He came to know every little winding road, barking dog, and family along the way. It wasn't just a job at the time, it was considered a service to the community. Mary worked right alongside him, also serving as a mail carrier for many years. Together, they became familiar faces to the people of the region. They knew who had lost someone, who had just had a baby, and who just needed a kind word. Mary was also a longtime member of the First Baptist Church of Varney, where she worshiped faithfully for 50 years. Burl also gave his time to young people. He helped start Boy Scout Troop 333 and was one of the founding members of the First Baptist Church of Varney, the same church his wife would remain devoted to for the rest of her life. But working in the mines came at a heavy cost. Like many miners from the area, Burl developed black lung disease, a painful and deadly condition caused by inhaling coal dust over time. It's a sickness that's stolen the lives of thousands of coal miners. In the United States, over 10,000 coal miners have died from black lung disease in just the past 10 years alone. Burl was one of them. In 1989, Burl passed away, leaving behind his beloved wife Mary, their children, and a long legacy of service, kindness, and quiet strength. Mary lived another 30 years. She passed away on July 21st in 2019 at the age of 89. The Appalachian Regional Hospital in South Williamson, Kentucky. Her obituary lovingly remembered her as the daughter of Arthur and Alice Blevins, and the sister of Burl and Charles Blevins, along with her sisters Ruth, Joanne, Susie, and Ray. Her husband Burl had gone before her, as had many of her siblings, but she also left behind a lifetime of faith, dedication, love, and good works. Mary and Burl were likely buried at the Mountain View Memorial Gardens in Mayer, West Virginia. It's a very large flat cemetery with only flat markers, and it's really easy to miss a grave there unless you know exactly where to look. It's also possible that Burl was buried in the Stafford Cemetery in Delbarton, where some of his family rests today. Sadly, there has been confusion over where exactly his body lies, and that matters because a man like Burl Stafford deserves to be remembered. He was more than just a coal miner or a mail carrier. He was a veteran, a husband, a father, a scout leader, a provider for his entire community, and also a survivor of some of the toughest times in American history. Wherever he rests, Burl's story lives on in the hills that he called home, and in the hearts of those who still remember him to this day. This bridge right here weighs many thousands of pounds, but somehow it just got a little bit heavier, didn't it? Now, like I said, the problem with all of this is that Burl's grave has been lost. He was a good man. The street here is named after him. It's Stafford Drive. You see the blue house right there? That's Burl's old house. I was talking to these guys. They were out here working on a little ATV, a quad, a few minutes ago. I pulled up. They were working on it. Y'all know me. I love engines and junk, so I had to walk over and say hi. But I was talking to them for a minute. Turns out they knew Burl, and he was a good man. They said so. They said he was a good guy. Lived right there in that blue house, and that this street, not only the bridge, but the street was named after him as well. I mean, you got to be a pretty good guy to do all of this stuff, and you get a bridge named after you, and you get a street named after you. But somehow, the rest of the details got lost over time. So, we're going to have to leave here and head back to Williamson and stop by the Mountain View Memorial Gardens office. And I'm going to go in and talk to the ladies. I've spoken with them before about various other stories involving their cemetery, and they've always been very helpful, you know. So I'm going to go down there and see if I can't find out where exactly, you know, is Burl in fact in your graveyard, and if so, where, and go down and actually see if I can find Burl's grave and show it to you guys and tell you the rest of the story and update everything as we go. Nice little community though. You know, it's quiet, peaceful. Honeybee Lane. Look at that. Honeybee Lane. How sweet. Well, I've made it back to Williamson before it got really hot today. It's about 10 o'clock. And it's warming up quick. But this right here is obviously Mountain View Memorial Gardens. And I've been down here and, you know, talked to these folks a couple times before about other stories. They have, they own a couple really large cemeteries in the area, and they've always been really helpful. And look at here, bonus. The church bell. Been doing that since I was a little bitty kid. But anyway, where we're going, you get that nice little ambiance in there, the flowers and the bell in the background, yeah. But where we're going is right over here. Now you've got the story, you know what this family member did, right? You've got a lot of the details and you understand it and you know who they were and where they lived. The only thing is you don't know where they're at now. You don't know where they're buried. One of the main things that you're going to want to know about this person, where they are now, is missing. That's a key piece of information, wouldn't you say? You can't go visit this person because you don't know where they are. Well, guess what I found, guys? I found what I believe to be the location of Burl Stafford's grave. Well, what they say and we believe to be Burl Stafford's grave. It's about 20-30 minutes from here, something like that, not too awful far. So I'm going to run on down here just in a second and see if I can't find Burl. See y'all down there. Well, I've made it to Mountain View Memory Gardens in Mayer, West Virginia. And it's as you can see, you know, it's a really big graveyard. It goes all the way up through that way. But we have a map. There's that statue is right here on the map. Go straight back and look what I found. Now I kind of hesitated. I kind of hung back a little bit. There was some, you know, some people cleaning graves and things like that. You know, I didn't want to be, you know, disrespectful or anything like that. So I just kind of hung back just a little bit and let them finish up, let them do what they were doing. But right here is the grave that we were looking for. This is the man that we came to visit today, Burl Stafford. I noticed it says 1923 there. to 1989 instead of 25, so we'll have to look into that a little bit. But right here, right beside of him, is Mary, laying right beside of him. And down here is Burl's memorial, his war marker. Burl Stafford, SM-2 U.S. Navy, World War II, December 11th, 1923 to October 15th, 1989. Now, like I said earlier, what makes Burl's story unique? What makes him different? Well, I'll tell you what makes Burl different. You see, there's a great big difference between talking the talk and walking the walk. And Burl, it seems, was one of those that walked the walk. He didn't bother with talking the talk at all. And we believe that he probably deserves to have his story told. He deserves to have a find a grave. He deserves all these other things that he doesn't have. And I guess if you're watching this channel, you probably feel the same way. You know, it's like when you're young. When you're young, you don't appreciate these things. You don't appreciate your genealogy, your ancestry, this sort of thing. What matters is what your friends are doing today. You know, what are we getting into today? You get a little bit older, you get a little bit wiser. You start to realize what really matters in life. You know, what really makes a person a good person or a bad person. It's not talking the talk, it's walking the walk. And for the rest of you, for all of our viewers, for all of our Patreon supporters, members, page members, viewers, we appreciate you guys for coming along, for hearing our little story about Burl and his wife and what he did. And his memory will live on in a small way. If nothing else, it'll live on in your memory now. Y'all have a really good day. And from Mayer, West Virginia, from Burl Stafford's gravesite, this is Leo with the Hillbilly Files. Leo out.